What up, everybody? Thanks for tuning back into the Brown Mama podcast. I'm still Jackson. Right off the bat, I want to apologize for not getting any pods out for week three, my picks, and my recap. I ran out of disk space on my laptop, so I couldn't get a chance to edit or save my video and the audio. But I got all that taken care of, and so I'm gonna pick up right where I left off, and get right into just a little bit of a recap of week three combined with my week four picks and my lineups. So even though I didn't get a chance to get a pod up, I did make my picks for week three. And if you don't believe me, here is a picture of my picks that I did, dated 9/22/16. So I made them the Thursday before the Thursday night game. And as you can see, I finished 8-8. Sorry for the sloppiness. I got a few notes on it that I was using for the pod. So I finished 8-8, and that brings my total so far to the year to 25-23. If you've been tuning in regularly, and you know that my goal for the end of the season is to finish at least 500. Yeah, I'm so well on my way, a little bit better. Probably the most wonky week of the year. Teams that should have won lost. Should have lost one. You know the deal. But yeah, so let's get right into my week four picks. All right, so first up, tonight's game, we got Miami at Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati barely squeaked by the Browns on Sunday, as you may know, and that's definitely not going to get it done against a team much better than them, than like Cincinnati, who actually hung in there pretty tough with against Denver and their pretty tough defense. So I'm taking Cincinnati at home on this one. They lost, even though it was a close game, or closer than people thought. And like I said, the way if Miami keeps playing the way they played against the weak Browns, then they're definitely they don't have any chance against Cincinnati. So Cincinnati at home to kick off week four. All right, up next we got Indianapolis at Jacksonville. And Indy looked good on Sunday. They played well all game against the Chargers. It was a close game all throughout, and ultimately it came down to who had the last possession, or second to last possession, because Indy scored on that long touchdown pass to T.Y. Hilton, and only left San Diego about a minute and some change to try and get the W. But they held on and won. Jacksonville they're to me they're the most overrated team. I mean, not really overrated because people know that they're not that good, but they're just a team that everyone wants to do well and to win. And I get it considering they've been pretty bad for so long. But yeah, they just people always overselling them, and this is another last week was another big case, and they lost again. Yeah, just give me Indianapolis on the road in a tough. Not tough overall, but tough for the AFC South. It's going to be pretty tight because all the teams aren't that great, and so every win in the division counts. But ultimately, I'm taking Indy on the road for the W. All right, and now we got Buffalo at New England. So I'm sure, as you all know, Pats don't have a quarterback. As of right now, looking like it might be Julian Edelman. I still haven't heard any news about Garoppolo, if he's cleared to play or not. And then who knows, they might even have to sign somebody like a free agent. I don't even know who's available out there. But it's going to be tough for them going forward. Who knows if they're going to run like some weird Wildcat style offense, or if they're actually going to have Edelman drop back and play like Tom Brady, Garoppolo, or Brissett. But it's going to be tough for them. Buffalo played really well last week. Really well at home against the Cardinals, who are probably the weirdest team in the NFL right now. I can't understand them. What's going on with them? But Buffalo. People were saying, calling for Rex Ryan's head already, and then they went out and blew out one of the top teams in the NFC. And so everyone's probably going to be picking Buffalo, but I've bet against New England way too many times so far this season and in the past to go against them right now. And even though they don't have a quarterback, you can't count out the way that they've been coaching. You can't count them out. So I'm taking New England, looking to go 4-0. Who'd have thought, right, that the New England's going to go 4-0 before Tom Brady came back? Yeah, another divisional matchup. That's the theme for this week. I guess there's a lot of divisional matchups. But yeah, give me New England at home against Buffalo. All right, next we got Seattle at the Jets. This game is the one that I still have question marks around. And ultimately, I mean, I hate to be this kind of guy, but ultimately to me, it depends on if Russell Wilson's going to play. I'm not sure if a lot of you may know, Russell Wilson is out. I believe he sprained his LCL on that horse collar tackle where he tweaked his knee. So his status is still questionable. He's up in the air. I don't know if he's practiced at all yet this week, but because the Jets, they laid an egg last week. I watched the highlights. It was still hard to tell whether it was KC was playing pretty good defense, or if Brian Fitzpatrick just made really bad reads and had a really bad day. If you didn't hear, Ryan Fitzpatrick threw 6 interceptions on Sunday to the Chiefs. So they're gonna really need a rebound in this game, and my opinion is, I hate to do it like this, like I said, but if Seattle does have Russell Wilson, I still think it's a W, even though they're going all the way across the country to the New York. Give me the W for the Seattle if they have Russell Wilson, but if they don't, that's a lot of a big step down to I don't even know who their backup is, and that's a big step down to whoever that is, and then trusting him to have to run the entire offense, especially with the Christine Michaels looking pretty good replacing Thomas Rawls, but how long is that going to last? Who knows? So if they don't have Russell Wilson in this game, I'm chalking it up as an L for the Seattle. And I hate to do this, but it's just I really don't know, and that's really the biggest deciding factor for it. So yeah, it just all depends on if Russell Wilson plays. But if you put a gun to my head, I'm saying Russell Wilson doesn't play, and so give me the Jets at home against Seattle. All right, we got another divisional matchup here in the NFC North this time with Detroit and at Chicago. And straight up, Chicago sucks. Sorry, Chicago fans out there, all you Bears fans out there, Chicago straight up sucks. The team looks out of it. Who knows if they're going to go defeated, 0-16. But yeah, they just do not look good at all around. You've got a lot of diehard Bears fans out there who don't even know who half of these players are that are out there. So automatically give me Detroit on the road. Even though Detroit did play really well in the second half against Green Bay, they came back. They looked a little spotty in the first half, but they made their adjustments, and then they came back and Stafford was finding Marvin Jones. It's almost like the Green Bay completely forgot he was on the team, and he definitely made him pay in the second half. But they played well towards the end, and even if they didn't play that well, I'd still go with Detroit on the road against the Bears because, like I said, the Bears they straight up suck. Sorry, Bears fans. All right, another divisional matchup, this time out of the NFC South. That seems to be the theme of this week. Is a lot of we've seen a lot more divisional matchups this week. Still early. Still a lot of records, a lot of close, but every win counts, especially within the division. But man, Carolina, they got their ass whooped by Minnesota's defense on Sunday, and they're going to definitely be looking to bounce back, especially within the division. I think they can rebound. The Falcons, even though they won last week or on Monday, it's the Saints defense who's been giving up points in yards left and right to everybody, so that's not really saying much. And I think Carolina's gonna be a lot tougher of a test for Atlanta's struggling offense than New Orleans was. So, like I said, Carolina's got to bounce back, especially after that tough loss on Sunday. And I think they can this week. Cam's gonna be fired up to want to avenge that loss and not show that they show that they're a lot better of a team than they've showed so far these first 3 weeks. So yeah, give me Carolina on the road at Atlanta. All right, now we got Oakland at Baltimore. Now, Baltimore, you look at them, it's like, wow, who'd have thought Baltimore was going to be 3-0 by this time? Everyone had a Baltimore written off, but then, there were a lot of guys out there who had Baltimore as the sleeper team this year. But if you look at the 3-0, it is a fairly weak 3-0. They haven't really played a tough team yet. And Oakland, man, they're playing really well this year so far. Minus the week 2 loss to the Falcons at home, which is which really hurt, which stung. They've looked really good on offense, really consistent. I think Derek Carr threw his first interception last week finally, and that wasn't even his fault. It was a tipped pass or a dropped ball by the receiver that kind of hung in the air and then got picked off by a defender. But give me Oakland on the road. They didn't have, even though there's 2 back-to-back road games, they're not traveling very far from Tennessee to Maryland, and I just think Oakland's offense can just keep on rolling. They're playing really, really well right now, really consistent. Especially who'd have thought that out of the running game has been their the biggest bright spot. With all the with Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree and Clive Walford as receivers. They're running backs. You got Latavius Murray and Jalen Richard, who's been the big sleeper pick for everybody, and he's been running really well, and then good change of pace all the way through, But speaking of running backs with the Raiders, hurts me to say this, but if you haven't heard, Raiders released Marcel Reese. I was wondering why he hasn't been getting a lot of playing time, and I guess it was kind of an impending thing. He's been a good Raider for the last few seasons for us, and he's going to be missed a lot. And I wish him best of luck. He's been a Pro Bowler for us for a long time, representing the Raiders, and one of the only Raiders to represent us in the Pro Bowl for a while until Derek Carr came around. So he's going to be missed. Appreciate all the service he gave to all of us, and best of luck to you going forward, Marcel. But yeah, back to the game. So give me Oakland on the road. Like I said, I think their offense can just keep on rolling and keep staying consistent and keep winning. All right, so we got another divisional matchup, this time coming out of the AFC South. We have Tennessee at Houston. Now, I'm sure you guys all know by now, but J.J. Watt has been placed on IR, more than likely going to miss the rest of the season too with his back injury. Always tough for a team to lose a player like J.J. Watt. He's the face of the team, he's the face of the defense, and anytime you lose a player like him, it's always tough. But this might be an opportunity for Ewing theory, if you understand the Ewing theory, but even then it's still going to be tough. It helps that Tennessee doesn't have the best offense. Their offense has been really stagnant all season so far, and Mariota's not making the jump that a lot of people thought he would in his second year. But even so, it's always tough. It could be a tough shot to the morale of the team. Losing their leader like that, but they might even go out there and have a win-win for the Gipper kind of mentality, and that's why I'm taking Houston, despite the fact that they're losing J.J. Watt. The best thing they have going for them is that, like I said, that Tennessee's offense is playing so poorly. The only chance that I believe Tennessee has is if their defense can stay in there and, keep the score down so that way their offense doesn't have to score as many points. But, I think that might be too tough of a task. Osweiler and the offense didn't look great against Patriots, but not a lot of teams do look good against the Patriots defense. But you did see some flashes between Osweiler and Hopkins, who is easily replaced Larry Fitzgerald, in my opinion, as the best hands and best body control as a receiver in the entire NFL and maybe on the planet. Who knows? But you saw some flashes. I like what I saw, even though they didn't get the win and didn't put up any points. But I think they can build more chemistry and get the job done and get the win at home. A win-win for J.J. Watt. So yeah, give me Houston at home. All right, so now we got the game that, in my opinion, has the biggest potential to be the biggest stink fest, and not just Week 4, but maybe the entire season. We got Cleveland at Washington. Cleveland played okay last week, but still found a way to lose. They came on strong in the end in the second half. Mainly in the fourth quarter against Miami last week, but the kicker missed the potential game-winning field goal and sent it into overtime. And they gave up a rushing touchdown at the end. Not even a field goal to lose the game. They ended up giving up a touchdown. And again, even though Washington won last week against the Giants, the Giants have been on offense just really, really, really underwhelming and underperforming. They I don't want to say they got lucky, but it was definitely in their favor that Giants haven't been playing well. And like I said, real potential to be a stink fest this week. But like I said before, until Cleveland can prove to me that they can get a win, I'm picking against them every time. So give me Washington at home, even though they have a chance to do poorly too. They haven't been playing well at all this season either. But like I said, gonna be a bad game. All right, now we got Denver at Tampa Bay. Right off the bat, give me Denver. Their defense is just too good. Tampa Bay didn't look too great against the Rams, who were, traveling all the way across the country on the road and, still were able to get a win against Tampa Bay, who supposedly had has a good defense. Didn't look too great against the Rams, gave up 30-something points to the Rams, who hadn't scored a touchdown all season. And Denver, their defense is just playing way too well right now. Them and Minnesota, just the two best defenses in the entire league. Yeah, Denver's defense is going to be too much for Jameis to handle. Yeah, Denver on the road. Speaking of the Rams, next up we got LA at Arizona. Arizona's been probably the weirdest team of the season so far. Like I said earlier, they were picked by a lot of analysts and experts to be one of the favorites to come out of the NFC to represent them in the Super Bowl. Their offense just hasn't been as great. Teams have been figuring it out. It's either they're going to run the ball and then try to play action and go deep, and once they figure it out to take away the deep threat, they're going to make Carson Palmer, who normally good, hasn't been that great so far. And LA looked great last week on the road. Who'd have thought? They started out a little slow, scored their first touchdown early, and then kind of went a little stagnant. But then turned it up in the second half, and really turned it on for their offense. And defense made some great plays too. And they look like a really balanced team. That's their max potential how they played on Sunday. It's going to be tough to repeat that. And I think despite the fact that Arizona got shellacked last week in Buffalo, they're still going to be able to take advantage of LA's weak secondary and maybe beat them deep with Floyd and Brown, and you still got Fitz underneath, and it's gonna be tough to have tough mismatch for those big linebackers for the Rams. So give me the Cardinals at home. It's a game they need to win, and I think they can pull it out. All right, next up we got New Orleans and San Diego. San Diego at home. Tough loss to them at the end against the Colts last week, but they looked really good. They looked a lot better than they've looked so far this season. And pair that with how horrible New Orleans defense has been looking this year. Give me San Diego at home. Anytime you got a really bad defense against a good quarterback like Phillip Rivers, they know what to do. And so give me San Diego at home. All right, so now we got Dallas at San Francisco, and who'd have thought that Dak Prescott, third or fourth round pick, rookie quarterback stepping in for Tony Romo, would be able to take over the offense like this. And even though they have simplified it for him, he's exceeded expectations. Not just making plays with his feet, but really making good reads, getting throwing guys open, he's making good throws, all that stuff. And pair that with Ezekiel Elliott, who's shown to be well worth the pick for the Cowboys. Those two guys, really holding anchoring down that offense. I think I saw earlier that Dez Bryant it has like some kind of injury. I'm not sure what it was, but it shouldn't affect his playing time. But yeah, man, who do you think without losing a guy like DeMarco Murray a couple seasons ago and losing, Tony Romo to injury at the beginning of this year, that their offense would still be pretty good. It helps that they have the best offensive line in all of football, but as you may know, anytime you lose a quarterback, that's always going to be tough for your offense. But Dak's definitely stepped in and done really well so far. I'm taking them against the lowly Niners. Niners just aren't good, man. It's tough. People are wondering, when's Cap going to get in there? Because even though Blaine Gabbert had some flashes, you gotta. Niners fans got to wonder, is Cap really this bad? Like, yeah, he didn't play great at the end of last season and stuff, but man, anything, we got to just get a change of pace or something. And if not now, hopefully soon. So it's tough for San Francisco right now. But yeah, still, give me Dallas on the road. All right, so now we got the Sunday night main event. We got Kansas City at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, man, just like Carolina last week, they got absolutely waxed by the Philadelphia Eagles, man. You can say it was Pittsburgh had an off game, that they just couldn't get anything going, running the ball, passing the ball, anything. Antonio Brown couldn't get going, Ben Roethlisberger couldn't get going, and only put up 3 points. But a lot of it is also, Philly played really, really great defense. But yeah, look for Pitt to definitely have to bounce back from that tough loss. They want to show that they showed earlier in this year that they have a really potent offense, a lot of offensive weapons. And on top of that, they're getting Le'Veon Bell back. So look for this to be a really great bounce back week for Pittsburgh to come out and really show what they've got against Kansas City, who on paper looked like they did really well. To me, it looked more like Ryan Fitzpatrick was throwing, making a lot of bad decisions and just really threw right at defenders. But Jamal Charles might play too on offense, but I still don't think that's enough to top to Pittsburgh, especially, if they're going to be coming out looking for blood and looking to avenge a really tough loss. So give me Pittsburgh at home in prime time on Sunday night. All right, now for the Monday night game, we got the New York Giants at Minnesota. Give me Minnesota. They're on fire right now. Their defense is just a bunch of monsters, really. Up front, they're just destroying offensive lines and quarterbacks, and the secondary is just taking away everything. You got 4 ball hawks back there, from the safeties to corners, just playing great football. I don't know who can stop them, and I definitely don't think it's going to be the Giants, who haven't been able to, they couldn't even put up points against the worst defense in the league, in the Saints. And so what makes you think they're going to do anything against Minnesota's defense, easily the best defense in the entire league? So even though the Giants had a lot of high hopes coming into this season, I don't give them any chance against Minnesota. And then pair that with everything that's going on off the field, not even off the field, on the sidelines with, OBJ just continuing to throw, these little hissy fits and stuff. And, I understand being emotional, a lot of players are like that and they get fired up and everyone handles it differently, but he's really got to get under control. When the coach actually comes out and calls you out on it, that's when it becomes a problem. So they've got to pull him to the side, talk to him in the locker room and get him to get it under control. But besides all that, like I said, Minnesota at home. Until someone can figure out how to stop them, I'm taking Minnesota. And I never thought I'd say that, considering that they lost AP and, they have Sam Bradford at quarterback. They're the 2016 season's version of the Broncos, even though the Broncos are actually the 2016 version of the Broncos too. Just a defense that's so good that it doesn't really matter who you have on offense. They're going to keep the score so low that the offense doesn't have to do much, but, more than likely only to score field goals at that point. That's how great both defenses have been playing. So yeah, those are my picks for week 4. Hopefully I did a little bit better than I did last week. I went 8-8. Like I said, not too bad. 500, can't complain. But you're always looking to do a little bit. You're always looking to get better. So hopefully I can improve on my record and go forward, not backward. All right, so now we're getting into my fantasy lineups. I'm trying to run through this. I'm running out of time here. So last week I lost both matchups in my fantasy leagues. Didn't do too well. I lost by a little bit in one league and I lost by a lot of it in the other. I'll start off with my fantasy league. My fantasy league, man, it's just my team is just not doing really great. Antonio Brown, not doing too well. Alshon Jeffrey, it just sucks having him on the Bears. I wish I could drop him, but I can't. That really sucks for me that I can't drop him. It's tough. He didn't do too well for me. I rolled the dice. I didn't know who to pick on as a running back, so I picked up Kenyon Drake. I needed a running back after losing after losing Arian Foster. So I picked up his backup, Arian Drake. I could have picked between him and the other one, and I picked the wrong one. The other guy scored a couple more touchdowns. I didn't do too well in my fantasy league. I got my ass pretty much kicked. My best player was Dak Prescott. He gave me 23 points. He played really well, as you all saw on Sunday night. But everywhere else across the board, not great at all. A couple guys in double digits, a lot of low single digits, But hopefully I can turn around for week 4. All right, so I'm down to get into my lineup this week. So I had to make a couple moves. A few guys were injured. Some guys are questionable now, and a lot of them just haven't been playing well. Dak Prescott played pretty well on Sunday, so I'm going to keep him in my lineup. He's going to be my quarterback this week. At receiver, I'm benching Alshon Jeffrey this week. It's not that he's been playing bad, it's just he doesn't have a quarterback to throw to him. So what's the point of keeping him in? So I just got rid of him, or I'm not getting rid of him. I'm just going to put him on my bench. And I made some moves. I picked up Sammy Coates. They're going to need to want to play well this week. The Steelers are. And so I got Sammy Coates and Antonio Brown as my receivers. At running back, I rolled the dice on who to get for running back between the Dolphin backups, between Kenyon Drake and the other guy, like Ajayi or whatever his name is. I picked Kenyon Drake, and ended up Ajayi was the one that played better. Sometimes that works that way. So I dropped Drake this week, and I picked up Jalen Richard from the Raiders, the rookie running back who's been backing up Latavius Murray, but also playing just as well. So I got Jalen Richard in my starting lineup as my running back 2. I got Alfred Morris as my running back 1. For my tight end, I got Travis Kelce, and in my flex, I got Martellus Bennett. Kind of deciding who else, if I want to put someone else instead of Martellus Bennett. Got to see what Patriots are doing at quarterback for this week before I ultimately make a decision. But right now it's Martellus Bennett. I might go with Clive Walford this week. Not sure, but that'll be a game time decision. And like always, I got Sebastian Janikowski as my kicker and Carolina as the defense. They didn't play as well as I thought they would have last week, but hopefully they can turn it around and play a little bit better against the Falcons if we can get me some more points. All right, moving on to my Gramps League, the Paul's players. Again, played well, but I didn't win. It was tough. I only lost by like 5 points. I wish I got more production out of Derek Carr. He played well in real life, but fantasy-wise, it wasn't that great. Fine. Like I said, threw his first interception. Mike Evans and Jarvis Landry played really great. So did Todd Gurley. Amari Cooper didn't do too well. I didn't get nothing out of Martellus Bennett or Justin Forsett either. It was pretty tough, but as long as I can keep having my receivers play well like that, then I should be pretty good going forward. Green Bay's defense was doing well until the very end. They started giving up points, left and right to Detroit in the second half. Got to keep the real life points down, and the fantasy points will go up. So hopefully they can turn that around this week. So this week I had to make some adjustments to my Gramps League team as well. So this week in my Gramps League, I had to make some adjustments to my lineup too, add some guys because some guys were injured, some guys were just out, and I got a couple buys too. So I got Derek Carr at quarterback again for one more week. I got Mike Evans and Jarvis Landry as my receivers. Todd Gurley is my running back. Oh, and if I didn't mention it before, I traded Jordy Nelson and Spencer Ware to my cousin's husband for Todd Gurley. And even though Todd Gurley played well for me this week, of course, Jordy Nelson hadn't been doing much the first 2 weeks. And then this week he has 100-plus yards and 2 touchdowns. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. But I'm happy that Todd Gurley got it going this week. It's a good confidence booster for him, so hopefully he'll keep playing well for me for the rest of the season. Darren Sproles was one of my backups, but he's on a bye week this week, so I dropped him and I added. I had Justin Forsett last week, didn't do anything for me, so I put him on my bench, and I picked up that Jay Ajayi guy that's from Miami, the one I should have picked for my other team, but I picked him up for this week because they're going to be going running back by committee, and hopefully he can play well again this week like he played last week. All right, and then I got Martellus Bennett as my tight end. Might switch that out. Looking for a new tight end. He's my only one on my team. I need another one. Not a whole lot available, but like I said in the last one, it's gonna be up to how they're gonna run the offense and who's gonna be playing quarterback and how they're gonna be doing it for the Patriots. And then I got Amari Cooper as my flex. Hopefully he can play a little bit better than he did last week. He had dropped a couple balls last week. Kind of a problem for him in the past, but hopefully he can turn it around and stop dropping those passes because I need the points, man. Got Seabass as my kicker like always, and then Green Bay's on a bye this week, so I picked up Cincinnati against Miami. Hopefully they can do a lot better. I do know that I have a Miami receiver and a Miami running back, but they were the best available. The Cincinnati team was the best available. However, I might look into another defense. Not sure who else, but I'll definitely let you know if I change my defense. All right, so those were my picks and my fantasy lineups for week 4. Hopefully they do a lot better than they did for me last week. And hopefully my fantasy teams can do a lot better than they did last week. I like to get at least one win. But like always, if you like what you heard today, go ahead, subscribe, like, comment, share, all that stuff. If you got any comments or anything like that, or any tips for me going forward, you go make sure you comment down below, or you go ahead and hit me up on my social medias. All of the links are on the ads are in the bio. And like always, hopefully your teams win this week. Hopefully your picks go better than mine. Hopefully your fantasy teams do better than mine, except for if you're playing me. And if you're gambling, gamble responsibly, gamble safely. If you're going out to watch a game at a bar, please don't drink and drive. Always call Uber or Lyft. It's easy. And catch you guys next week. Peace.